there's a thumb drive in a junk drawer with a mixtape that would have changed somebody's life. Probably got lost, shuffled between 9 to 5s and eviction notices, because we all know that art don't pay the bills. They say that talent rises, but we've watched it sink underneath student loans and second shifts. Seen it drown in systems that never learned to swim in brilliance without the promise of profit. How many masterpieces do you think have been broken by misfortune? Van Goghs ignited in apartment fires, or symphonies silenced in stolen backpacks sleeping on subway seats, or Illmatics scribbled on dinner napkins.
Yeah, so introduce yourself. You go by...
Yeah, my name is Soundsannon. Soundsannon on all platforms. You can find me at that.
Tell me about that name. How did you get that name?
So I got my artist name. I never really wanted to be like known too much. I just like to make music, and so I was making music with a friend of mine, and he actually booked me for a show before I had an artist name. And he was like, "Hey man, I'm making the flyer. I gotta put something on there." And I was like, "Well, I don't got nothing." So he put Annon, A-N-N-O-N, and I just threw sounds at the front of it and ran with it from there, man. I was going by Annon for a long time by itself, but I feel like it was too like obscure. People didn't really get it when I was trying to shout it out at shows and shit, so just had to anchor it a little bit.
It's amazing. So you do open word poetry, is that correct?
Yep, I'm a hip hop artist and then also a slam poet as well. I just started doing slam poetry with Grow House Tampa, a hub for all things creative really in Tampa. They work with the youth a lot and do a lot of like poetry stuff. They also do a rap slam once a year. It's kind of like a slam poetry style format, but with rappers and hip hop.
Very cool. What art form currently resonates with you most?
I think probably poetry right now, to be honest. I've been really heavy into slam poetry. I've just been writing like crazy. I'm trying to get onto the Grow House Slam team so that I can go to, there's a big, it's called Southern Pride Poetry Slam competition. It's like one of the biggest national competitions for slam poetry, and they're having it in Orlando next year. So I'm trying to make my way onto the Grow House Slam team so I can get out there.
Yeah, amazing. How did you get to where you are today? Tell me about your journey, your musical journey.
How did I get to where I am today? Honestly, just persistence, to be honest. Like that's really all it is. Like I mix and master and record all of my own stuff at home as well. Like I've got my own home studio, so I didn't do a lot of, it's something that I kind of regret also, like being later into my artist career now. I regret not doing more collabs and like going out to studios and just being in fellowship with more artists. But really my artist journey was just kind of to myself a lot. I started making music 2012 with my boy Rob. He used to go by Wild Youth, and he's like a producer. He plays like 18 different instruments, and he actually taught me how to mix and master and everything as well. Yeah, we working after school. We would stay up all night till 4 or 5 a.m. just making new beats, making new songs, and then eventually got linked in with these other guys, local dudes in Tampa, LaDwan, Najee Gems, Chris Shimmy. It was a whole collective called Gloomy Side High. We were together about a year, maybe a year and a half. We did a couple of just like little shows here and there, nothing too crazy, but everybody kind of moved away from that, and since then I just been on my own, just kind of, like you said, popping out the shuffling, all the local events, like Grow House, of course, Dennis Amadeus. I was in a collective called Drop City Collective with a whole bunch of Tampa artists. It felt like damn near every artist in Tampa was a part of it. That was maybe 2-3 years ago, back when Gats was still here. Gats 813, shout out Gats.
Yeah, I literally actually hit him up for this event. He came to Tampa literally today. We're gonna do an interview, but he said he was gonna be in the studio all day, so we're gonna do something else.
Yeah, that's my boy, man. Gats, not only is Gats an amazing producer and an amazing artist, he's a real genuine good dude, man. Just like a solid person in general. But yeah, man, I just feel like Tampa is just, this is my city. I was born and raised here, so my art has just kind of been interacting with everybody in the city and just being around, really.
Amazing. How has being in a collective shaped you as an artist, and how, your current career as an artist?
I think it's, while it's real important to find your own sound, I think it's also important to be exposed to a lot of other sounds as well, because there's a lot of different people that do things a lot of different ways, and I think being around other artists really exposed me to that. Was just like LeDwan is an incredible freestyler, and he can damn near come into the studio and write a whole verse. He'll listen to the beat and just write the verse right there. It takes him 20-30 minutes, and that's something that I really respect. And like watching Gats do what he does, and Pusha Preem and Scott, and just all these different artists, Najee Gems, yeah, it just really, I feel like, helped me to feel more comfortable in my creative process, and that kind of helped me to take inspiration from the things that I like from all the artists that I listen to locally, and big artists, and just really tune them into my own sound and kind of incorporate it so that I can be myself, but also still influenced by the city and the culture in general.
Yeah. So I see your t-shirt, Make Art, and it's a lot of visual art as well. Do you take inspiration from painters?
Yeah, I take inspiration from really everything. Musicians outside of hip hop, like a lot of jazz and funk and soul music. Artists, painters, dancers. Yeah, I take a little bit of inspiration. I just like art, honestly. I'm just not like an artsy-fartsy kind of way, but I just I think I enjoy the human experience of art. Is just getting a glimpse into people's heads, and a little bit of perspective enhancement from seeing how other people are thinking and creating.
Do you think it's ever possible to fully see the world like how someone else sees the world? Like one for one?
I think probably not one for one. In my opinion, I don't think anybody is going to have the exact same perspective and experience, even if they see things similarly and agree with things. I think everybody has kind of like a self-interest that drives them. I heard this story one time. It was about a fisherman and a swimmer, and there's a lake behind this neighborhood, and the fisherman likes to fish in the lake. The swimmer likes to swim in the lake. They stop putting chemicals in, or they start putting chemicals into the lake so that the moss and the plant life will stop growing. But because of that, the fish start to die. So the fisherman gets upset because he no longer is able to fish. The swimmer is upset because he likes to swim in the lake. They both care about the lake ultimately, but they have two different perspectives or reasonings why. Just self-interest based on what you're going through, what you care about.
Tell me something.
There's a lot of real crazy stuff going on in the world right now, and I think a lot of what's coming down from the administration that we're under right now is purposefully made to make people feel like they're powerless and like there's nothing that you can do. But that's really not true at all. The best thing that you can do for yourself and for your community is to show up. And the second best thing that you can do for your community is to convince other people to show up as well. Vote in your local elections, school board, county commissioners, mayoral campaigns, because all of those races are going to be much more relevant to your everyday life that you feel like in Tampa right now. If you go and you vote in your local elections to make sure that the people who are actually making policy in your city are doing it in a way that you think is fit or represents you as a Tampanian, it's going to be a lot better than trying to focus on the big things that we don't have a whole lot of control over. So yeah, that's something I would say, just from my community organizing, my political organizing background, is show up for your community, show up for local elections, and show up for yourself.
How can people who are currently showing up in their communities convince other people to show up in their communities?
I think it's hard to convince people to do things, but being an example for people is kind of the first step, in my opinion. I think a lot of what stops people from getting involved in, you know, community politics, whatever, is just that it's so big. It's like very overwhelming, and people think that you have to be like a political expert, or you have to, you know all of the amendments in the Constitution and shit like that. Like, you have to be some kind of genius to get involved, and you really don't. Like, you just never underestimate the power of what a small group of organized people can do, is what I would say. You know, just be the example. Be the example in your circle of friends that you want to see for the world. So if you want people to get involved, then show people that they should get involved. Kind of what I've been doing most of my adult life, really. I was a community organizer. I was the lead organizer for a lot of stuff here in Tampa, especially during like the 2020 times when a lot of like the Black Lives Matter stuff was going on. Now I'm executive director for a nonprofit called STREAM. It stands for Stronger Together, Reaching Equality Across Manatee. Essentially just working with a faith-based community and teaching them how to organize amongst themselves for their community for things like affordable housing, criminal justice reform, youth mental health. So yeah, that's kind of what I have been doing most of my adult life, is just art and, you know, hip hop, slam poetry recently, and being active and involved in politics in my community. I was a political organizer for like almost 10 years. I've worked on 3 different presidential campaigns and mayoral campaigns, governor's campaigns, get out the vote, voter registration drives, all kinds of different stuff.
Wow. What kind of impact does that have, you know, just being active in the community that may not be visible to the naked eye?
I think people don't see the dirty work. Like when it comes to community organizing specifically, I've had kind of like this pet peeve that people like to come out when it's exciting, when it's like protests and pickets, and you get to come out and kind of be a face and throw your fist in the air and shout your cause out. But then when it comes to the dirty work and the menial things and the tedious things, like showing up to your county commissioners meetings and showing up to school board meetings and showing up to city council meetings and speaking to your actual public officials and trying to organize, you know, small groups in your community to present solutions, or even just speak to the public officials about the things that are going on, it's just not exciting. So people don't really, we see a lot of people in the streets when it's time to protest, and not a lot of people in City Hall when it's time to actually get down to talking about what we want changed and how we want it changed. And yeah, I think that's the biggest impact that I have seen, is that I've been in rooms with mayoral campaigns, presidential candidates, candidates, mayoral candidates, presidential candidates, candidates for governorship, and there's kind of like that joke online that all adults are just big kids, and like none of us really know what we're doing, we're all just trying to figure it out, right? And that has never been more clear to me than when I started working in politics. I thought that the people that are running to be in charge, or the people that are already in charge, were like geniuses, like super smart people, and like well equipped to do the job that they're doing. And really, working in politics, I'm just seeing it's regular people. They're normal, average, everyday people that need their staffers to inform them about, you know, their politics and about things that are going on. The behind the scenes shit is really where change actually happens. The tedious, menial work is where change actually happens. And, you know, the protests are where we go to pull a spotlight and put attention on something. But if you put attention on something and then you stop paying attention to it, it's counterproductive to whatever you're trying to do.
I see. So Walk me through of how to make change from going from on the street protesting to actually making that change happen through governmental systems.
So I'll use an example from here in Tampa. I was lead organizer for Black Lives Matter Tampa for like 7 years or so. There was the big protests that were going on all over Tampa. Not all of them were specifically done by the chapter, but we did do a very, very big protest on Bayshore. We took all of Bayshore over up, what is that, Kennedy, I believe, and basically locked the whole street down. It was like 5,000 people. And when you have the people there, you're able to spread the message to those people. So that's, where we come out and we put attention on things, is that not only are we shutting down streets and kind of stopping the city in its tracks to make them look at something, you also have all of the people who are involved in the protests that you're at, that you can now educate or give them some kind of vision casting for what you want. Like in Tampa specifically, everything that was going on, we wanted to see a reallocation of resources from the Tampa Police Department to just a crisis intervention team that is trained to handle mental health situations that cops are not trained to handle. They've got programs like Cahoots in Eugene, Oregon, where they have shown the success of these programs. So basically we did these protests, we got the spotlight on it, which got us in the door with Mayor Jane Castor. So we had a sit-down meeting with Mayor Jane Castor and essentially told her what was going on, what we were seeing, what we didn't like, that the TPD, especially under when Dugan was the police chief, they were just bad. They were very brutal police force, and the use of chemical weapons like mace and tear gas increased by 230% under his watch. So we're essentially telling them, on top of being an aggressive police force, they're not necessarily an effective police force, and that's unfortunately what we see all across the United States, is that on average cops only solve about 40% of violent crimes that happen, but they on average in cities all across America are getting 60-70% of the city's actual budget. So we're spending almost all of our money on police that are not solving crimes, and then we're also putting them into situations that they're not trained to handle. And what we were asking her to do is essentially reallocate resources so that we could take that off of their plate, give it to people who are able to handle it, and then it also keeps people who are having mental health crises safe, because they're not dealing with untrained law enforcement that are armed and just trying to, end a situation, not necessarily help a person. So we sat down with her, and through that, she ended up making, it was I forgot exactly the name of it, but it was a citizens review task force, basically with police. So she brought a bunch of community organizers, business leaders, and leadership in police, like sergeants and police chiefs and stuff like that, got us all into a room, and we were meeting just it was once every couple of months, and we did that a couple of times. USF was monitoring all of the conversations that we were having, and then they basically took all of the data and all of the things that they had recorded in those meetings and those sessions, and USF created a policy workup of suggestions that the city could implement to try to solve some of the problems that were brought up. The protest is a means to an end, where the protest is there to make sure that people are paying attention to something, but if you stop at the protest, you never actually get the change that you're looking for. Because if we would have stopped at the protest, we never would have got the meeting with Jane Castor, which means possibly the review board never materializes, and things just keep going on the way that they go. But at least people got to protest, and that didn't sit right with me. So that's why I encourage everybody to get involved. I'll get off the soapbox there, but I think just in general, something that I want to share is just to be authentic. I feel like we're at a place right now with art where the artist has almost become the product instead of the art. People are now attaching themselves and becoming fans of people and not necessarily the art that they produce. And I think that that's just kind of a weird, dangerous, slippery slope for us to be in. So I think just be authentic, care about making art, get it out. Just be vulnerable, be authentic, be yourself, and care about your craft and care about the artwork, not necessarily the people that are making it.
I see. So earlier you said that it was a slippery slope, a potential slippery slope for people to get attached to the person rather than the art. Why do you think that's the case?
I think what we start seeing once people get attached to the artist as the person and not necessarily their art is it's good because it's like a fan base, right? But then it turns into almost cultish. There's like parasocial relationships where I think about like Taylor Swift fans, and I probably get a lot of heat online for talking about Taylor Swift fans, but almost like a feverish need to be involved in her life, like you're her friend or something, or like you know her. There, you know, I saw a video of a woman who was speaking to her daughters, like 2 young daughters, and she's like, "Oh my God, girls, guess what?" And they're excited. They're like, we're gonna get something. I forgot what it, you know, we're going somewhere. We're going somewhere. She's like, "Nope, my best friend Taylor Swift is getting married." And her daughters rolled their eyes, but like, the reason that bothers me is because like, that's a real situation. Like that lady has such a parasocial relationship with Taylor Swift because she's attached herself to Taylor as an artist and not necessarily the art that she makes, that she feels like, I don't know, like personally connected even when there is no personal connection. And I feel like that is real dangerous for artists specifically. Like when you think about like stalkers and you know, people just going crazy, and you know, female artist gets a new boyfriend and gets killed because her stalker, you know, had this parasocial relationship, and in his head they're connected through whatever medium. And yeah, I just think it's a slippery slope. It's real dangerous for people to like idolize people instead of just appreciating the art that they make.
It's interesting. So I feel like nowadays, like a lot of like people feel that they need to like build like a personal brand of some sort, so people can actually feel connected to them and hopefully like stream their music essentially. How do you see the future of that?
I mean, I see that being where we're at. Like I almost feel like right now it is more important for, or like, you know, mainstream wise, it's more important for you to be a personality than it is for you to be an artist, because once you become a personality that people attach themselves to, it doesn't matter what you put out, they're just going to consume it. But I think that also hurts art at the end of the day. Like, you know, when we're not putting the right respect and the right time into crafting real, authentic, genuine, good art for the sake of just being a personality, and whatever I put together, the people are going to like it because they like my personal brand, I think it's a disservice. It's a disservice to art, and it's a disservice to artists. And I wish there was more of a balance. I wouldn't say you can't attach yourself to an artist and like them as a person, but I just wish there was more of a balance between people respecting the artist and also the art that they make.
Let's see. Anything else you'd like to add before the live performance?
No, I think that's it, man. I appreciate the opportunity to come out and speak and speak my mind a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like what you said is very important because, like, in my head, I don't even know what to do past, let's say, a protest, you know? Maybe a lot of people aren't even aware of that. Like, even those things, like, outside of, like, music necessarily, like, I feel like that's really important. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of, you don't have to reinvent the wheel even. There's a lot of organizations that are already out there that probably care about the things that you care about. So if you like environmental justice, Google environmental justice organizations near me, and, you know, just go and walk into the door one day and say, hey, I want to be a part of this, and see, you know, where they can plug you in. Or if you care about criminal justice, go and do the same thing for criminal justice, or, you know, affordable housing, whatever it is that you want to make an impact on. There's probably people already out there doing it, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just go out there and get involved.
All that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to do it like without like any beat or anything like that, just straight up?
Yeah.
All right.
There's a thumb drive in a junk drawer with a mixtape that would have changed somebody's life. Probably got lost, shuffled between 9 to 5s and eviction notices, because we all know that art don't pay the bills. They say that talent rises, but we've watched it sink underneath student loans and second shifts, seen it drown in systems that never learned to swim in brilliance without the promise of profit. How many masterpieces do you think have been broken by misfortune? Van Goghs ignited in apartment fires, or symphonies silenced in stolen backpacks sleeping on subway seats, or Illmatics scribbled on dinner napkins lost forever to laundry days. I'm talking a special kind of tragedy. The silent apocalypse of genius where greatness exits stage left with no applause. I hear there's a graveyard to visit for children who grew up to watch their dreams die of old age. A mausoleum constructed of old computers where they host funerals for crashed hard drives and handwritten notebook pages drowned in coffee and self-doubt. And if you look around, you'll find a headstone that reads, "Here lies the artist who will never get to show us what we were missing because the world only gazes at stars that are bright enough to see." Because your dark don't matter unless you make space for it in 16s over catchy beats. No one applauds the Michelangelo whose Sistine Chapel crumbled in Katrina. We don't talk about the Toni Morrison whose novel wasn't recorded because you can't write in the dark and she couldn't afford the lights. Or the Basquiat selling sketches for food money with trembling hands, drowning in cheap whiskey and potential, patiently waiting for recognition that just isn't on the way. It was never on the way because not every phoenix gets to soar. And sometimes ashes stay ashes and fire isn't rebirth, it's just the end. So this one is for the artist whose big break broke wrong. The almost famous, but never quite made it, lost voices found in an unheard playlist of a pirate radio station you and friends made in a basement for not much more than the memories as payment. And the brilliance, the world blinked and missed. Damn, I fucked that bitch up right in the middle, but
Really good, though.
I appreciate it, man.